Well, I am saying that it's for me a nice pleasure to be here for my second time. And this opportunity, I will share with you and research that I finished last December, and this with the University of Illinois and in USA and my university during 4 years about blended learning. It was very successful. And if I have time, I will show you the site, I suppose, because basically I will share with you the foundations, the basis of the blended learning, some contribution to discuss indeed this innovation, this educational technological innovation in the field that there is everything to be built and everything to be discussed, because a lot of things we know by reading, but we are doing in some countries more than in others, depend on the state, economical, social, cultural, political situation, to do this kind of innovation because of the fragmentation of people, the differentiation or in access, and a lot of things that many times is impossible to catch the whole population and to share this kind of innovation. So in this case that I will share with you, especially in this format that was used to strengthen two kinds of virtual collaborative community. Inside my university, we built a learning community, and this is a virtual collaborative community in higher education. And outside my university, I worked during 4 years, and it's not is a long period, with another university, and we built a virtual collaborative community of practice, because we exchange a lot of things and we can access to many discussions and many questions without resolution indeed, and this is the research, and it's this the very important thing that academic have to do and to think. So this is the topics that I will take care and share with you, to give some introduction of ICT in this century, that we listen a lot in this symposium, and we read a lot of that. The second point is the blended learning, why and what for, and this is very important, within a substantive vision of rethinking electronical distance learning proposals. The case that I will be very, very concise, because if you like, and if I have time, will show you some parts of the report. And the last one is to underline the professionalism in this kind of proposal, because by equipment only we can't get really the real dimension of that electronical educational program impact in our minds, in our wills, committed to a construction of socially useful knowledge. So, what can I say about ICT in 21st century? Everything is written I can put some words in this point, although the ICT incorporation is essential to pushing to a shift to an informational society. It is not achieved only with artifactal incorporation. And this is very, very important, linked with, I said before, the professionalism that we need in our faculty, in our tutors, in our evaluator programs, and so on. This achievement depends on a situated conceptualization of ICT mediation, and this means in each social setting with specific actors, scenarios, and needs, where beyond the social fragmentation that I said before, are they re-signify from the temporariness and pluralities their communicative and formative practice. And I continue here because against or looking the explosive inclusion of ICT and Internet should be, in my opinion, towards a critical participation for the production of social useful knowledge due to the features of being interactive, constructive, collaborative, and other adjective and theoretical points that we can put, providing navigation charts to allow moving in the complex world in permanent turmoil to appropriate as ICT tool. And in this sense, I have the experience to appropriate Wiki to my course, to appropriate a web quest to my course, many kind of innovations, and basically the satisfaction of students and the faculty and the improvement of learning. I can show with some figures if I have time, is really increasing and increasing, but not in an indiscriminate transference of this kind of tools. We have to prepare, you have to deconstruct and reconstruct according to each cultural space in general, an organizational place of work. Well, ICT educational technology mediation represents a combination of every media used by students to produce this kind of resemantization. We have to be very carefully. I live in the south of the world. It's very, very different in comparison with the north, and besides the north has a lot of difference within their worlds, and we have to take care, especially in this century, and the impact of ICT about to train the emergent citizenship. And I suppose that this kind of temporary solution of blended learning is very important to push and to implement in a whole sense. But speaking about blended learning, we are asking why and what for. Basically towards a substantive vision or rethinking the electronical distance education by the articulation of any kind of technology. We work in a site. We don't put together face-to-face and internet. Blended learning has to be installed in a site, put into an ICT environment. And besides that, a very strong instructional design, knowing, selecting, and mixing every kind of teaching strategies, any kind of resources, depending of the cognitive styles, depending the multiple intelligence, depending a lot of inputs that the socio-constructivism and the socio-connectivism handles. So it's a very, in my opinion, a very ambitious, a very holistic proposal, and it's not like an addition, this and this and this, because you have to put many time in the design, deciding basically this media what for this kind of objective, or this symbolic code is important to develop this kind of behaviors, and so on. So this is the substantive vision of the rethinking the electronical distance education and the articulation of ICT, any kind of media beyond the electronical media. We have analogical media and traditional media that we have, depending on the context, to catch them and incorporate it. So why and what for? Well, this change, the socio-technological change, require not only investment in high-speed wireless, hardware and software technology, but in mindware. And for us, the basic work is underlined with the metacognitive and the cognitive strategies, attitudes, values, involving a strong development of high thought function, encouraging an open dialogue in a collaborative way. This is very easy to be said, but very difficult to be done. This is a very great effort, and we have to fight to reconstruct many mentalities, and this takes a lot of times. Times characterized in search about synthesis and another demystification for epistemological, axiological, conceptual, methodological revision that include a lot of conception, strategies that we have to take into account. Which are the advantages and disadvantages of blended learning? Well, looking that blended learning have not a stable definition in its understanding, and this affects positively and negatively in its practice. The advantage is that it's left the way open to further research, educational innovation, and experimentation. The disadvantage is the lack of reference points as a moderately agreed benchmark from which to compare and evaluate the blended proposal regarding their pertinence, performance, pedagogical effectivity, and success. Such is, they are not panaceas in our life, in the world, and each case is to be considered by their specificity and study in its context, in its scenario, and so on. Many people revising many bibliography, and I am coming back from a very nice seminar in the United States done by Sloan consortium that works a lot basically with blended learning last August. So, and the discussion were great, really. And many people include blended learning because of an economic interpretation for reducing cost. See that? or difficulties but technological linear model which underlines e-learning. But we say no. Electronical distance education can be highly structural or constructive depending on the epistemological educational conception to think. We think that a blended learning course needs levels of professionalism and quality because it's much more expensive, because it needs to recruit material and profession resources to commit to a versatile work rather than install prepared courses and for an e-learning delivery. And we saw in the last presentation that to prepare this kind of CD takes a lot of time, a lot of, and it's very expensive in terms of production, and maybe, I don't know if you have done some pre-test before large scale and so on, and it is, this kind of production require more professionalism, resources, and high quality of people trained with different competencies and rigorous competencies. Concerning the characteristic of blended learning, and I suppose that is the modality of to be selected, it offers flexibility for both learners and faculty, professors, in terms of resources, support, and cognitive scaffold. It is more multifaceted because blending implies the mixing of two or more kind of things, such I told before, and basically to know the characteristic of symbolic codes and different kind of didactic objective and different kind of linguistic competencies and so on. Blended learning is a combination of convergence of elements, many of them. I would only read the geographical, cultural, technological, modular object of content to be personalized, curricular, temporal, and so on. And the basis in which the blend is supported or should be supported is this is a very complex alternative, because distance education, distribute learning, e-learning, because the instructional content and so on, online and web-based learning, blended learning is not the mix of face-to-face and ICT only. You have to prepare a site and you have to interact within a site, without the internet. Is used as a primary technology for processing, presentation, and delivery. And open access and learning opportunity linked to principles of an education philosophy and policy corresponding to lifelong learning, of course, with voluntary entry to anyone who desires to learn without any restrictions. Flexible learning takes attribute of many kind of technologies. Mobile learning that today is so strong basically with youth and the conversion of technology. This kind of resource we have to include is a duty, is a social pressure that have to be inside any kind of liking or disliking for us, but it have to be included in my opinion. The third topic is related to the case that is linked to strengthening the virtual collaborative community, but this modality mediated by various digital technology. We have done an action research the special contribution that we choose to explore and explode was, among others, the historical cultural theory of Vygotsky, a social conflict of Dahrendorf, critical social practice of Luckmann, the activity theory of Davidoff, the socio-connectivism of Siemens, 204, and, well, many others that in the last time are working towards, like Skandaramya and Bereiter from Canada, about the knowledge construction communities. And basically, we have done a step ahead because include the Web 2.0, basically that I told before, using wikis, web quests, diaries, and portfolio. The two before that I underlined was great because each student finished the course with an web CT done in a virtual collaborative context, refer to educational technology because my course is educational technology. So they have to live, they have to experiment the interaction. If not, it's impossible in press material to teach educational technology. So they have to live, they have to interact, and basically taking in account the cognitive and metacognitive processes that they are doing in their minds, by inside their self and together in a group. So it's a hard word, but it's a nice word. Blended learning, so, is a combined way to build knowledge for the development of virtual collaborative community within a social technological networks which appropriate participant virtual tools. To appropriate wikis, for example, to do in a course takes a lot of time before beginning the course, because you have to prepare the main concepts to scaffold Vygotsky in this line. You have to prepare semantic organizer. You have to prepare and to put into the web and to take the mechanism of the wikis, but in the small context of the course, so the people, the students, will interact in this kind of simulation, if you like, but appropriating this tool. And the same with WebQuest, that I recommend the use of both of them, basically because in honor to the depth of the creation of collaborative communities of learning. In my experience, in my practice, these two proposals are very good. We put portfolios too, and well, at the beginning they were very reluctant. I told the truth. I can say, oh, wow, it was very interesting and everything were very happy to do. No. They were reluctant to do this kind of thing, but step by step, they are taking into account and be aware that this was important to look inside, to monitoring their self-learning, where I have problem, what kind of solution, go to a colleague, how the way that you use, and in this practice and collective practice, they discover a lot of things. Well, this is important, but It is not neutral, self-sufficient, and a universal claim. It is related to the consistency between what, the content, because it's different to teach geography than mathematics, you know perfect. The discipline is very, very important. The how, methodology and procedures, in a justified framework, why, what for we have to put this kind, because it's the fashion, because they give me by free a site, for example. In the south in the world is very common that the new solution of Microsoft reach to our institution and give us the solution, and this is not the reality. So justify the framework, why, towards valuable and useful meaning, what for, which characterize all genuine pedagogical projects, not only blended learning project, all kind of projects. Well, I am concluding that blended learning is becoming an educational model of creative synthesis in higher education, and the wealth of blended learning is established in a fair doses to be integrated and to fit distance electronic learning, distributed, collaborative, interactive, online, with great importance to train tutors. It's very, very important, and to maintain discussions in my practice more in forums than in blogs. I am very frank with you. With the blogs, I have to do a lot of research because my results till here are not so good. A lot of improvisation, and I prefer the time to reflect that people takes when have to answer in a forum. Would you understand me? Are you following? Because I put a question and they think, but in a forum for me it's a very improvised, and a lot of people answer without thinking, without reading the books, the text, and so on. So is to integrate and for fitting distant electronic learning with face-to-face learning, in order to suppose that e-learning was failed to take advantage of as essential virtue of conventional education. Conventional education is not be replaced but electronical media, never in my opinion. You can design.
Never say never.
Yeah, well, no. In my practice, I have a lot of years working with educational technology, more than 25 years, and as far as I know today, both of them, I had a lot of important professors that never will be replaced by a machine, you know? By machine and by internet or platform or technical systems and so on. So, but internet open you a wide horizon to access a lot of things, so you have to mix, but in a very thinking way, and the decision will come from the pedagogical field, not from the technological field. Excuse me if here analyst of system, engineer, and so on, because this is an educational adventure.
We agree.
So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the decision is ours, and the professionalism in this field that is new. We are in front of an iceberg, and only the top of the top we know with education and internet. Everything is hidden, everything nobody knows. We by error, that is nice, we learn, and mixing and looking and copying and trying, but well, we have to study a lot, we have to research a lot, we have to confront in the reality. I am telling the truth from my own experience. But if can I show my site? Yeah, can I enter to internet? Indeed, I have two courses in this moment: the Universidad Nacional de La Plata, Tecnología Educativa, and Lectura Crítica en Internet. This is a short, very. Everything is virtual here, and I have a lot of students of Mexico, Ecuador, all over Latin America. I suppose I go.
The password is not correct. Okay.
Yeah. Why
Okay,
not?
perfect.
Well, this is my site, and well, I don't know, here gray and white, well, anyway. And can look my student, informe completo de la actividad. We put questionnaire diaries, and it's a duty that each student have to write one sentence when they finish his class. I go the first month every week, the second month twice a month. So look at this, listen to this. From stay face to face, step by step, pushing them in an autonomous way, with like un salvavidas, ¿cómo se dice? Un salvavidas. Un salvavidas, so I don't go through the ocean, but we take care of them, and well, it's a double of the work. And I show you. We work with learning based on problem, always. I don't give theoretical, no. We work, and here we have the nuevo wiki, and I show you.
Which is?
Wiki came from, do you know wiki? Yes, wiki is a Hawaiian fast.
I make it, you know.
And here is the pautas, work, the definition of our work, and I appropriate this wiki, and there are a lot of terms of all over the course that they have to discuss. They have to do an advanced organize, they have to put examples, and for example in Residuo Cognitivo by Salomon, or the Web 2.0, and the media, mediadores, portfolios, well, a lot of things. And maybe to return here, to return. Or
Yeah, that's a spec. If you want to close?
Okay. No. And I show you when they have to, they put special interest in epistemology of educational technology because it's the foundation. And here we work with portfolios, teoría de la actividad, the Davidoff is a nice theory. And here I show you, we go to the National Museum of Bellas Artes, and we go to concert, we go a lot of places in this site, because art has a deep relationship with our two hemispheres. So I send them to museums, to concerts, to ballets, and so on, and here are put. and I prepare YouTubes to do the difference between, I say, if I have the emails for everybody, I will say the YouTube that I prepare from the difference between e-learning and b-learning. And they have to know the virtual community of Second Life, and well, a lot of things to reach to the WebQuest. So this is the production of the students, WebQuest 1 and WebQuest 2. And well, this year we are preparing a big seminar because a professor of the state of the Massachusetts came to Buenos Aires to give us a project, a workshop only for WebQuest. And we are used to do many collaborations with another university. According to this seminar, who states strengthening the virtual collaborative community in higher education. And it was my pleasure to share with you this spirit to work together. Nothing else.